whether we like it or not, I think we're going to get back to trying to live in more out of our own yard and not being so dependent.
Led by Ben and Carly Coleman, Mountain Run Farm raises the finest grass-fed beef and pastured poultry and pork using ethical and sustainable methods of small-scale agriculture. The result is a line of superior quality meats that are free of chemicals and hormones, higher in nutrients, locally raised, and 100% natural. But healthy foods are not the only focus for the Colemans. They believe in reconnecting local community with the source of their food, the farm. Hosting several open house gatherings a year, they use the time to educate, inform, and inspire. Come along as we join them on their summer 2008 farm tour.
One of my theme kind of for today was to just show all of us have a yard that we mow and keep up, and as you can see, I don't mow. I've got a cow that does the mowing, and we prosper off of her with milk, and I'll rotate the cows right through the yard. The chickens eat the grass, and the grass is the life of everything we have here, so I don't bother mowing it. But and most of these little setups is stuff that is pretty easy to do in your yard, and even if it's a dozen laying hens, you know, there's your eggs for the week. So we've gotten now to the point where we're hardly even needing the grocery store, and that's a good feeling and a lot of money saved. Whether we like it or not, I think we're going to get back to trying to live in more out of our own yard and not being so dependent. So that's what my theme was, to just kind of show a few different kind of ways to do that. And we'll start walking. They've got a couple acres they roam in. I've got on my hands and knees and caught them eating crawfish out of the creek. I mean, snails, they eat anything they can find, and every bit they can find is less out of my pocket that they eat. And it's all good for them, and if it isn't good, they won't eat it. We don't promote lean meat, and we don't eat it if we can help it. Because the fat, if it's done right, is where most of the nutrients are. And the traditional people, which is who we're trying to study and how they raised animals, and in islands where they were really, that was all they had to eat. And I mean, they would go straight for the organs. That was the delicacy, the organ meats, then the fat, then the meat. So the lean meat trade is probably not great for our health, but some people think that they're not going to get fat if the steak's not fat, and that's not really so. If you eat the right fat, you'll actually lose weight and gain muscle yourself. When you go see my prices, which we've tried to keep reasonable for our neighbors, that's where most of that money that you pay goes back to the processing fees. And then anything I call profit, to me, is not to put in the pocket, but to put back in the system and make something better. And so I'm not saving anything, honestly. I put it all back and try to make this a better system and make the animals even healthier. The cows are the biggest part of the farm, and it's important for me to get them running efficiently and productive because they cost the most to run too. This has got diatomaceous earth in it, which also deworms them. It's got dried vinegar in it, which is great for their gut activities, and the kelp especially. And it's got added selenium, which we're lacking in Virginia. The cattle especially need the extra selenium. So it's got a lot of different stuff in there, and they'll gobble it right up readily. And as I get my soils building, they'll cut back on this on their own. So eventually, this will go down, hopefully, I'll say. This is Primrose, and I bought her in November from a farmer down on the other side of Asheville. And she was born and raised there, and he's got 8 jerseys that he's been milking. He's been doing it about 25 years, and all he does is make cheese with all their milk. And he sells his cheese. The Biltmore State restaurants serve his cheese. and he's gotten really well known with his cheese. And it's a raw milk cheese, but he ages it, which makes it legal to sell. Some states it's legal to sell raw milk. Virginia is not one of them. We're not allowed to sell any part of this thing. She's 6 years old, and she's a New Zealand bloodline of Jersey, which is the cleanest bloodlines of any cattle because they have never had grain feeding. All they do is grass. These are shiitake mushrooms, and the logs are white oak, which we cut last fall. And you buy the spores, they're a little thimble shape. We've got the address to that. This is something so simple and easy. And you drill your holes and you put your spores in, and basically you wait. This took a year to start putting out mushrooms, but the spores will inoculate the entire log, and eventually I should get them coming out of every hole in there. They need a moist place, and preferably a 1 foot on the ground as a, one end down. Those logs right there are about 8 years old that are leaning on this tree here. Those over there are the ones I did last spring. So, but we still get to eat these things, and they're delicious, and they sell for about 10 bucks a pound. So if you can mass produce them, there's income. And I've got a book in there that shows a field as far as you can see here that is just stacks, I mean endless, and that's in China where they're mass producing them and selling. Most mushrooms you buy dried or whatever are coming from there, but you can do it right in your yard right here. It's pretty simple. About a 4 foot line and a hook and liver on a jug. I can put 15 lines in the water and go to bed, come out in the morning and go collect them. They came up earlier, so I don't know if they'll do it twice, but what I've done, these were 8-inch catfish when we put them in, and I'll show you the size of them now, providing this thing's not hot.
Is he alive?
Yeah, they can.
Whoa, a catfish!
Oh no! Did you see him?
Oh.
All right, he's swimming. Just to look at the basic construction is as simple and easy as it can be, and this, to get one of these completed, is $120 of material, and everything else I've built is at least twice that. And plus I can move these by hand. They're lightweight and they're very strong, and you can do anything with them. You can, we're putting doors on each end and building a wire wall on each end, which you'll see out here, but you can leave one end open and have a tool shed. You can, for poultry production, which is seasonal, we're planning to take the tarps off and put clear plastic on, and then we have a greenhouse we can put anywhere we want.